Okay, Shavua Tov. Have a good week. Good morning. I am planning a version of this talk that I will write down on my blog, and I will include this YouTube that I'm preparing right now. All right. Although I have been doing my best to study Tanakh, the Bible, for a couple of decades already, I would never call myself an expert. Generally, an expert is known as somebody who can write everybody else's opinions. So I'm not good at memorizing. My talent is more from the thinking and original ideas, and some end up being just like what some expert has said. One of Chazal, our great experts, super experts. And sometimes there are things that people say, that's peculiar. But there's a very famous biblical commentator who's considered the super source. And one of his classic comments, interpretations, questions about a line in this past week's Torah portion, BaHar, on the mountain, is something quoted all the time, and there's even a totally non-Jewish version of it, which is, what does this have to do with the price of tea in China, or something like that. And I'm talking about the line that I'm going to, so this is Rashi, whom I'm talking about, and here, according to the My Jewish Learning, the very first paragraph was Rabbi Solomon Berry Isaac, or Shlomo Yitzchaki, known as Rashi, rabbi from the rabbi, the Shlomo and the Yud, is one of the most influential Jewish commentators in history. He was born in Troyes, Champagne, in northern France in 1040. Now that's basically, what are we talking about? Close to 1,000 years ago. So the line, which is a very famous one, I'm going to discuss is, let me get it here. Let's see, I'm going to just, let's see, no, that's not, I wanted to be able to switch, but I can't. All right, so the line is, Deber el b'nei Yisrael v'amarta alehem ki tabo el haaretz asher ani noten lechem v'shaftem haaretz Shabbat Lashem. Speak unto the children of Israel and say to them, when you come to the land which I gave you, then the land, you'll keep the Sabbath, the land's Sabbath unto the Lord. Now that's Shemitah, which is something that doesn't exist in too many societies. And it explains, it's with a line very similar to how human beings keep the Sabbath day. The land has to be given a Sabbath. And Rashi's famous line for this is, let's see, basically, what does Shemitah have to do with Har Sinai, with Mount Sinai? Now, as I mentioned Rashi was French. He did not live in the land of Israel. He lived almost 1,000 years before the Zionist movement, which was a revolution when Jews returned. And I think that's why he didn't see any relation. I believe that his question is like many Jews who otherwise keep the Torah but live outside of the land of Israel, and they'll say, why do I have to move to Israel? I have everything, the best kashrut. I have a job. I don't have to work on Shabbat. My kids can go to a Jewish school. And they are saying exactly what Rashi said. What does Shemitah have to do with the Torah? I don't need the land of Israel to keep the Torah. Well, I'm sorry, Rashi, and I'm sorry to all those people who consider themselves strictly Torah observant. You miss the boat. You don't understand the basis. Here in this pasuk, in this line, God is saying that unless you live in Israel and you keep the certain mitzvot, commandments, that can only be done in the land of Israel, sorry, Charlie, you missed out. So this is something that has been bothering me for a while, and we live at a time, we're in Messianic time for sure. There are marvelous things happening here. We're getting, it's very hard, unfortunately, to say who's a Jew, but the truth is we are now at the point where we're at the tipping point that most of the Jews in the world are here in Israel, and pretty soon certain laws will have to change because of that reality, and more families have their own ingathering of the exiles, with members of the family being from various Jewish ethnic groups, whether it's Europe and North Africa and various converts who have stories that their families had special things going on. This is all Messianic times. Our sages also tell us that once we get into this super Messianic time, the gates will be closed. So you have to come now. That's why the reason why so many Jews want to be buried here, because they figure if they didn't make it in life, they'll make it in the afterlife, and everything's here. Don't make excuses. Just come.